Hi, welcome to Secrets of Irving.
Oh, mighty Isis.
Just so you know, IMDb lists this as episode 10. It's episode 5 on the DVD, if that matters to anybody. Andrea and Cindy are rearranging the lab to make room for some new equipment.
A request for 2 new aquariums, 3 new terrariums, a microscope.
Well, aquariums are for keeping fish. Terrariums are for plant life, and
I know what they're for. What I don't know is why we need so many all of a sudden.
Wayne Moss.
The new student? I heard the kids are giving him a bad time.
They are. They think he's some kind of hillbilly.
Which he is. He's a country boy who's new to the city. That's not the problem. The problem is some of the kids think that's a bad thing and they hassle him about it.
He is the best biology student I've ever had. He knows more about plants and animals than any other boy or girl I've ever taught.
I thought she said she teaches chemistry. When did she branch out into biology? The other kids consider Wayne the basic outsider who doesn't belong, and they don't get tired of letting him know it.
How about it, Wayne? You going to our game against Westside High tomorrow?
No, Wayne doesn't like sports.
Yeah, well, maybe he could go on the field and play with that fuzzy raccoon Westside calls their mascot.
The biggest problem is those two are the only other students in the school. They must be because we never see any interaction with any others except Cindy. So that means the pool of potential friends is impossibly shallow.
Wayne! Wayne? Have you got a minute?
Hey, Wayne, teacher's calling. You better get going.
What a dink.
You know what he needs is a friend.
Really?
How about a cute, fuzzy little friend?
The rival team really does have a raccoon in a cage as their mascot. These two geniuses are going to steal it and pin it on Wayne. And then what will they do with it? They haven't thought that far ahead.
Listen, I know it's been rough on you this first semester, but a big city's, well, it's not quite as friendly as what you're used to back home.
I tell you, man, it's not just the people. It's the pavement and the concrete and the smog. I tell you, there just ain't no place left to be in the city, you know?
That's one of the many reasons I live in the suburbs. All the truly city people I've met are crazy. Wayne says, I can't take this, and runs off.
What's wrong?
It's Wayne. I can't seem to get through to him.
And I've talked to him one whole time. I even offered him a new microscope. Why didn't that fix everything?
Maybe I can. I think I know where he's going. He's always alone at the pond, on the old Wilson property.
Cindy catches up with Wayne at the pond she mentioned, and he starts giving her a real education. About plants. Get your mind out of the gutter.
This one's called burridge. Grows wild all over here. Back home, we used to boil the leaves and make a brew. It's good for settling an upset stomach or taking the itch away when you got the chicken pox. Makes a right tasty salad, too.
He says everything out here is useful in some way. There's no such thing as a weed. I decided the same thing about my lawn.
I never would have noticed it.
Yeah, well, you know, there's lots of things that people just don't notice, you know? I mean, they got eyes okay and ears, but they got no idea on how to use them.
He starts showing her all the birds and animals, pointing out the sounds and smells and all the rest. And this.
What did you go get yourself into, huh? Come on, take it easy. It's not gonna hurt you. No, sir, not at all. I'm gonna get you free. There you go. On your way. Mind you take care. You better watch him, Mama.
All together now. Aww. Dr. Barnes just got a call from the other school's principal. Somebody stole their raccoon, and by his clothes, he looked a lot like Wayne. Andrea says, I think I know where Wayne is. I'll go find him.
Hey, you know, these clothes are really a good idea.
He doesn't look too hot.
I wouldn't worry. He's probably just not used to us yet. Maybe he's a little hungry.
But I already gave him a half a leftover sandwich.
We'll give him the other half.
Wayne is taking Cindy to see a family of snowy owls that live in some nearby trees.
What's this?
Gately homes from 45,000 up.
He says if they put houses here, they have to cut down all those trees. He points out a family of squirrels and says, without the trees, they'll starve to death. A whole ecosystem will be destroyed.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not gonna let him do it. No, sir, I just ain't gonna let it happen. Well, come on, aren't you gonna help me knock it down?
We can't, Wayne. That's not the way.
Because if you knock the sign down, the whole thing goes away, right? That must be Wayne's reasoning, because he's so determined to take that sign down, he runs over and jumps on a bulldozer. driving it may be a bit more complex than he anticipated. And he's headed straight for those trees he's trying to protect. Isn't it about time for a new plan?
The ignition! Turn it off!
I think it has to be down throttle, but I don't know how.
He knew how to start it, but he doesn't know how to turn it off. Reminds me of a certain politician's mouth. He's managing to steer between the trees, but he still can't figure out how to stop it. Just then, Andrea arrives. I love her expression. Cindy is staring in horror, begging Wayne to jump off. Wayne is freaked out, pulling every lever in sight to try and stop this thing. Andrea looks at the situation and her face says, "Seriously? Well, if I must."
Oh, mighty Isis.
The ISIS legends thrived in a time when bulldozers didn't exist, so this goddess really thinks this is going to stop one.
Force of gravity from this rock be still. Let me roll it up the hill.
Unfortunately, she removed too much gravity and the rock floated away. As far as we know, today it's in orbit around the moon. And you do realize what will happen when a bulldozer meets a round rock? Yeah, that. What else you got? Isis couldn't stop the rock. It didn't kill her, she's immortal, but the next time someone asked Andrea if she was Isis, she said, "Of course not. She has a limp. I don't." If she could do that, why'd she bother with the rock? I know you're from ancient Egypt, but that's not what we mean by rock and roll. The foreman of the job catches up with him and tears into Wayne about the bulldozer.
What were you doing in it in the first place?
Well, I don't want you to build houses here. You just can't.
Like it or not, that's the plan.
But you don't understand, sir. This pond is special. Hey, there's no place around like it for hundreds of miles.
The foreman says, "I'm just a contractor. You need to talk to the person who owns the land. He's the one with the final say what we do here."
Okay, there are legal ways to handle things. We can file an environmental impact report. That's an ecology study.
Well, I'm afraid it's too late for that. The blueprints have been approved by the City Building Commission. I've got a work crew coming in tomorrow. Matter of fact, I was supposed to drain the pond this afternoon.
It's an artificial pond with a dam. He's supposed to blow up the dam. Wayne has a journal that documents more than 25 species of birds that depend on the pond, not to mention more animals than you can count. The foreman is sympathetic, but his hands are tied.
What's your boss's name?
Winstead, Har Winstead.
Has Mr. Winstead ever walked this property? Has he ever really seen what's here?
No, I don't believe so.
Where can I find Mr. Winstead?
Today is his golf day. Rick takes Wayne's journal and goes to find him. The foreman says, "I can give you until 4 o'clock. If you can change his mind before then, I'll be glad to put the dynamite back in the truck."
Wayne! Hey, Wayne! Man, you've got to help us. It's a whole mess. We, stole him from West Side, and we were gonna bum rat you. I'm sorry.
Raleigh the raccoon is in bad shape. Suddenly, Wayne's hillbilly knowledge isn't so funny.
You guys give him to eat.
Nothing much.
Nothing much of what?
A sandwich left over from lunch a couple days ago.
Well, for a couple of smart Alex, you guys sure are dumb.
I think he enjoyed that.
No sandwich is probably spoiled. Oh, Raleigh here's probably got food poisoning.
What do we do?
Well,
Courage.
that's right. Hey, you learn quick.
They take Raleigh to head off and find some and fix his tummy. Meanwhile, back at the golf course,
Well, I had no idea that pond supported so much wildlife.
You ought to come out there before it's gone.
It won't be gone, Mr. Mason. Now, you get back out there as fast as you can and get in touch with my foreman, Mr. Tilden. Tell him to forget his dynamite and tell him I'm changing my plans.
too bad Rick is a little late. The foreman has planted the dynamite and the fuse is lit. For a moment, I thought she was going to call on the rain to put out the fuse. I guess she knows that fuse powder has its own oxygen. I've seen it burn underwater. But she also could have just pulled out the fuse and blasting cap and thrown that away. Now she owes that foreman a few bucks for a stick of dynamite.
I get lost in the woods.
He can teach you everything you want to know about the woods. From now on, old Wayne Moss is part of our gang.
Well, just don't go around stealing any more raccoons, huh?
Okay.
They assume he wants to be part of their gang. Then again, they're the only other students in the school, so he doesn't have much choice of gangs either. And that's the second time we've broken the fourth wall. Another really good episode. Wayne was convincing. We got in some commentary about urban sprawl and what it does to ecosystems. And we learned the most important lesson of all: don't go around stealing raccoons. Wait, that's not it. Oh, right. If someone is different than you, there's something you can learn from them. Don't be a butthole. I'll see you next time here on Secrets of Irving. And we learned the most important lesson of all: don't go around stealing raccoons. Wait, that's not it. Oh, right. If someone is different from you, there's something you can...